When we think about the theory of evolution, one thought creeps into every thoughtful mind that if we have evolved through apes-like beings, this evolution will not stop here at Homo sapiens as the most modern, developed, vital and wisest version. Evolution is a continuous process, and in the future, as per the survival of the fittest and ironically even the most powerful, we will evolve into some other even better species. Well, it sounds positive and hopeful. Till now, we look at the sequence of evolution as beings similar to apes which have evolved into Homo sapiens and will continue to do so until perfection. Hypothetically, we can look at this sequence through exactly the opposite perspective, which leads us from being the most developed humans to present-day Homo sapiens through devolution. If this devolution continues, Homo sapiens will devolve into beings similar to apes. In either case, evolution and devolution will not be stagnant. Even if either pinnacle is achieved, it won't stop, for change is the constant in the universe. This thought or idea leads to a cyclic pattern of occurrences which provides a base for further research. Modern science has only analyzed the previous scenario, whereas it should have looked at both ways. For the present-day scenario of exploitation of domesticated animals, unethical use of armaments and finances, man's hunger to attain power and quest to intrude into the workings of nature through experimentations of artificial intelligence, etc., portray a different fearful scene in front of our eyes. Also, in the case of the survival of the fittest being the only way to move forward, that day does not seem far when the more powerful humans start to massacre the less powerful ones to maintain the population of their beloved planet. Presently, mankind is forgetting that with power comes great responsibility. In this documentary, an attempt has been made to reflect upon the theory of evolution by adding consciousness and then by analyzing the same through the glass of time cycle in Indian Jain philosophy, which indicates that what we understand as evolution is actually devolution. Science and religious philosophies are the innate human quests to know the secrets of the universe, to remove the layers of ignorance and through them to find its bliss. The beauty lies in to keep exploring, analyzing, failing and succeeding again. Let us begin with a few questions. Are humans the center of the universe? If yes, what is the role of other beings in this cosmic scene? And if they have any role, how are they important? Taking just insects alone, the number of living species has been estimated around 3 million, and the number of individual insects may be a million. Such contemplation lead one to a state of thought that if there are no humans, the planet will flourish at its best. In contrast, if we remove other beings from this scenario, some workings on the planet will be negatively influenced. For example, even termites are important decomposers, and even parasites are integral components on shaping community and ecosystem structure. We all know how humans have harmed the Earth's ecosystem, yet as the most evolved species, being human is the most significant in finding the bigger purpose of existence. Irrespective of how insignificant it seems, a living being is a living being, which grows, feels, reproduces, and dies. The definition of life is the property or quality that distinguishes living organisms from dead organisms and inanimate matter, manifested in functions such as metabolism, growth, reproduction, and response to stimuli or adaptation to the environment originating from within the organism. which can be further divided into different groups like animal kingdom, plant kingdom, marine life, etc. An octopus is nothing like a mouse, and both are quite different from an oak tree. Yet, in their fundamental chemistry, they are rather uniform. And in terms of being alive, each being from all three kingdoms shares the same consciousness, the same spark that makes life life. One of the ancient philosophers, Parmenides, thought that everything that exists had always existed. Nothing can come out of nothing, and nothing that exists can become nothing. Parmenides took the idea even further and thought that nothing could become anything other than it was. These philosophical thoughts do not gel well with the theory of evolution because they make one believe that human intuition is the most reliable, and it does not call for having absolute faith in the rationale. By attempting to understand the same theory by inserting the consciousness in all beings and trying to understand its journey towards infinity, we find not only a base of our existence but also a pinnacle of our future. Also, seeing the evolution through the eye of consciousness, we observe that evolution indeed happens, but not only in the physical appearance of a being, but also in the level of its consciousness. We can have a look at it by peeping into the concept of the soul in the Jain philosophical text Tattvartha Sutra, and by taking a description of our future as mentioned in one of the ancient texts of Jainism named Tiloi Parnati, that describes the cosmology of the universe in detail. And to justify the same, we can analyze our current situations, which encourage us to ask ourselves if we are on the right track. We seek that which has origination and eventually goes towards destruction. How can we seek that which has always been and will forever be? That must be kept hidden, for that can get the lost race back on track. Though the concept of time is extensive beyond limits, and observation of a few hundred or even 1,000 years cannot tell us the exact fate of mankind. However, we can get a glimpse. Keeping the phrase obvious does not need evidence in consideration, let's not take the research done by renowned industries. Let's talk to someone 60 plus and ask them how they have seen the world change in the past years in terms of morality, simplicity, relationship stability, peace of mind, and happiness. One can be assured that they will have volumes to speak. Be it the decreasing age of becoming sexually active, increased divorce rate, rapidly growing consumerism, unhealthy and unethical eating choices, and so on. But of course, research is not based on one's observations. Hence, let's consider a few well-researched examples. Though immortality has lured humans since time immemorial, however, at present, the human race is desperately preparing to defeat death. It appears that soon death will be the talk of the past as a metaphysical happening. Rather, it will be treated as a disease, a cure that could be found if tried. The famous search engine company Google is working in this direction. Recently, they have launched a sub-company called Calico, whose stated mission is to solve death. Being curious is commendable, and being humans, we are blessed with this trait. But would it be fair for an inquisitive mind if it tries to play with the laws of nature? Experiments in genetic engineering are at a pace where the aim is to engineer the most efficient and fittest possible children through the best DNA of both parents. But the scary truth is that if the DNA test discovers the dreaded mutations, the embryo will be destroyed. The mere thought is dreadful. The uncontrolled boost of animal agriculture indicates a threatening future too. From the sugar we use in our cup of tea, to the soaps we use, the medicines we take, and the food we eat, everything is derived from animals through violent means. Vegetarianism may become a word found in dictionaries in a few thousand years or even sooner from now. Despite the so-called animal-saving campaigns, the wild animal population is continuously decreasing. Humans have smartly managed to increase the populace of domesticated animals, be it pets they love the most or the cattle they love to eat or use for other means. This is scary indeed that the world is populated mainly by humans and their domesticated animals. Today, livestock systems occupy about 30% of the planet's ice-free terrestrial surface area and are a significant global asset with a value of at least $1.4 trillion. In this scenario, how could humans pay attention to the petty truth that even animals have souls, or they too are the equally loved children of Mother Earth and hence possess the equal right to live? Ironically, having the most developed brain has led us to manipulate things and events and use other less developed beings in our favor. In contrast, it should have been the other way around. Modified and contorted views of a few religions have played a vital role, where it has been directed in the adherents' subconscious that only humans have souls and hence only they exist in the context of development, suffering, growth, and so on. Whereas there is zero scientific evidence that, in contrast to pigs or any other animals, sapiens have souls. Hence, treating them as per our needs is fair and wise. As soon as it is established that animals do not have souls, the guilt of using them the way we want vanishes. Homo sapiens likes to think that it enjoys a superior moral status and that human life has much greater value than the lives of pigs, elephants, or wolves. They have concluded that mighty humans have the right to cause suffering to the weaker, lesser developed species. What they have completely ignored is that nature has an innate moral order as well. The greed of the human race has no leaps and bounds. Rather, it is increasing seamlessly with each passing day. Over 150 million animals are killed for food around the world every day, just on land. That comes to 56 billion land animals killed per year in the US alone. Including wild-caught and farmed fishes, we get a daily total closure to 3 billion animals killed. Above all this hullabaloo, we pretend that we care for Mother Earth and are worried about the harm global warming is causing our planet. It is like killing someone on the one hand and pretending to be a savior on the other. Humans seem to have forgotten completely that they are in the shelter of the planet and not vice versa. The three rapidly growing industries that are attracting huge investments of finances indicate a scary future of mankind. Besides the one mentioned above, armaments is another trade in which unbelievable shoot-up has been occurred in the past few years. In 2018, the world's military spending amounted to 1.78 trillion US dollars compared to 1.1 trillion US dollars in 2001. The third rapidly growing fearful economy is the medicine industry. The global pharmaceutical market has experienced significant growth in recent years. As of 2018, the total global pharmaceutical market is valued at about 1.2 trillion US dollars. This is a significant increase from 2001 when the market was valued at just 390 billion US dollars. This statistic depicts that even that day is not far when humans will be used as puppets at the hands of pharmaceutical companies. However, smaller patterns of this can easily be observed in our daily lives. Besides these challenges, artificial intelligence will be another big challenge for humankind in the near future. Russia's President Vladimir Putin said, "Artificial intelligence is the future, not only for Russia, but for all humankind." It comes with enormous opportunities, but also threats that are difficult to predict. Whoever becomes the leader in this sphere will become the ruler of the world. Need not say that most nations are working vigorously in applying AI in different fields like automated weapons, personas like virtual news readers, robotic aids instead of human laborers, etc., which will eat up millions' employment in the long run. That will eventually lead to other challenges worldwide. According to a research by a US think tank, artificial intelligence could potentially result in a nuclear war by 2040. Cybercrime is another concern that will surely cause mass destruction in the near future. And there are many predictions that the next world war will not be a man-to-man war that causes bloodshed, but a cyber war. Seeing the corona pandemic, which has not affected only one nation or society but the whole world, killing 218,770 people around the globe in mere 4 months. There are many conspiracy theories about how the big events of the world take place, affecting millions of people, either by brainwashing or influencing them negatively. Microsoft founder Bill Gates warned the world much ahead of the COVID-19 pandemic, saying, "It's instructive to compare our preparations for epidemics with our preparations of another sort of global threat, war, because of all the things that could kill more than 10 million people around the world. The most likely is an epidemic stemming from either natural causes or bioterrorism." Besides all this commotion, the artificial or natural disasters, we must understand and know, as author Paulo Coelho writes in his book The Winner Stands Alone, the planet was, and always will be stronger than us. We can't destroy it. If we overstep the mark, the planet will simply erase us from its surface and carry on existing. On this note, we can say that the very inventions done for the benefit of mankind serve like obedient servants, but if not controlled efficiently, have the ability to engulf the whole or parts of the human race, because we have removed that from it, which caused this whole action possible at the first place. We must wake before it's too late, but ironically we won't, and we cannot, for we are destined for downfall. If present-day humans are the result of evolution, we will keep evolving and stand at the pinnacle of being human, perhaps a few thousand years from now. On the contrary, we should not deny the possibility of devolution. Charles Darwin stated that all species of organisms arise and develop through the natural selection of small, inherited variations that increase the individual's ability to compete, survive, and reproduce. Kudos to Darwin for discovering the theory of evolution through the sheer use of his brain. He gave the world a vital link to proceed onto the path to knowing the history of mankind, of truth. But unfortunately, as Harari wrote in his well-researched work Homo Deus, Darwin has deprived us of our souls. If you really understand the theory of evolution, you understand that there is no soul. This is a terrifying thought. Survival of the fittest is a phrase that originated from Darwinian evolutionary theory. In Darwinian terms, the phrase is best understood as survival of the form that will leave the most copies of itself in successive generations. If survival of the fittest is the only suitable way to take one's race further, then we must ask this question to ourselves: what will we do when the world's current population of 7.7 billion will reach 9.7 billion in 2050, which could peak at nearly 11 billion around 2100? Will the more powerful humans start the mass killing of the less powerful ones? Well, according to the survival of the fittest, it seems so. Will that be the answer? If yes, what about human emotions like love, compassion, pain, etc.? Adding consciousness into the theory of evolution not only discriminates between the inanimate and the animate efficiently, but also erases the discriminatory boundaries that divides all beings, be it humans from the poorest to the richest, from the weakest to the strongest, or any other animals. This thought keeps all of them on the same stratum. We cannot measure the amount of love we feel for our offsprings or for someone we love the most. We are unable to weigh the knowledge someone has gained during his lifetime. We are still quite young in decoding the workings of the mind, but we need proof that the soul exists. The life sciences doubt the existence of soul not just due to lack of evidence, but rather because the very idea of soul contradicts the most fundamental principles of evolution. Sometimes truth is that faded mirror of belief which we do not want to clear, for clearing it may cause discomfort to our way of life, in which we have molded everything according to our wish and comfort. It is rather tough to depict our exact history merely on the basis of fossils, whereas paleontologist Edward Forbes remarked that very many fossil species are known and named from single and often broken specimens, or from a few specimens collected on some one spot. Only a small portion of the surface of the earth has been geologically explored, and no part will sufficiently care. Surely, many other possibilities may not be proven but can give a new direction to search for the history of mankind. Less than 1% of the universe is visible, more than 99% is invisible. There are possibilities that the invisible is supposed to be understood through other than sensory perceptions, through realizations which can be full of possibilities. The famous Indian scientist Jagdish Chandra Bose, known for many inventions including the crescograph, a device to measure the growth in plants, believed that plants feel pain and understand affection just as much as humans do. If we start considering that consciousness is first and is in no way the result of chemical complexity but is cause of it, according to the purpose and willpower and developed intelligence of the Jeev, we can take the research meant for the betterment of mankind in a positive direction, where there will be respect for each life form. We can do so by adding the essence of consciousness to expand the process of evolution in all three directions of time, that is, past, present, and future. Interestingly, in India, this has always been the scene. Perhaps that is why India is the spiritual leader of the world. Let us begin the treasure hunt to dive into the immemorial marriage of consciousness and matter, and we will know how evolution takes place. From time to time, eminent thinkers around the globe have tried to discover the meaning of substance and have interpreted the same. Aristotle described substance as that which is neither predicable of anything nor present in anything as an aspect or property of it. This indicates that substance exists individually. He also held that only substances can remain self-identical through change, which means they do not lose their essence and surpass time. For Locke, a substance is that part of an individual thing in which its properties inhere. Hence, the qualities a visible object expresses are actually the qualities of the substance of which that object is made. Substance may also be conceived as that which is capable of existing independently of anything else. These statements reveal that the fundamental substance exists despite a specific object's continuously changing forms and observability. The Indian Jain thinkers have described the attributes of the substance as existence is the character of a substance, and defined it as that which possesses qualities and modes is a substance. According to the Jain philosophy, 6 elements fulfill the terms of attributes and definition of being a substance, and all of them together constitute the entire universe. And the soul is the only one amongst them with the unique characteristic of possessing consciousness. In Tattvartha Sutra, Acharya Umaswati writes, sentience is the defining characteristic of the soul. All 6 substances are eternal and constantly changing but without losing their identity. Souls are independent entities that do not possess the material qualities of touch, taste, smell, and color. These two statements lay the basis of the uniqueness of Indian philosophies, as they indicate that each soul is not only individual but also beyond physicality. At the same time, it is most observable through its activities via the medium of the physical world. For example, the one writing this article and the one reading it are both manifestations of the soul, and both are independent. However, both are in touch through the mediums of technology and words which belong to the material world. As each substance is unique and individual, and no matter what, it never leaves its fundamental nature. In the context of the soul is never bereft of sentience, however feeble and indistinct this may be in undeveloped organisms. Be it a unicellular bacteria, a tiny grass plant, or each living cell that accommodates a being. Every being is a manifestation of the same life force. The difference lies in their location on the evolutionary ladder. Tattvartha Sutra mentions the worldly souls are classified as mobile and immobile beings. Here, worldly souls means souls bound in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth because of their incessant cause-generating activities. The common phrase, "what goes around comes around," has been contemplated by us innumerable times. We have heard of Newton's third law that says, "for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction." We connect these phrases with karma, but we do not contemplate them further and in detail. However, ancient Jain thinkers have done this for us with extreme subtlety, according to whom, directed by the various processes of karma, the soul passes through different states which generate changes in its nature. Hence, the consciousness decides its own destiny, for the soul has an inherent capacity which can affect how the bondage is ended, thereby affecting its own fate. Each individual soul is equipped with the knowledge of his immemorial bondage with karma and knows how it can end. While performing actions and enduring their effects, the soul keeps climbing or descending the ladder of evolution under the compulsion of its reaction. There are many examples where we find ourselves unable to predict the exact time of the beginning of a specific event. For example, is it possible to predict exactly when the gold alloy with the sand particles, or for that matter, when did gold come into existence? It was there in one form or the other, but it was gold since time immemorial, and no matter what we do to it, it will stay so. Similarly, in the context of the journey of the soul, Jain thinkers have mentioned that there is no beginning to the transmigration of souls from birth to birth. However, this beginningless journey has an end in the form of moksha or liberation. A cycle is hidden in each linear occurrence, just like a linear pattern is in each cyclic one. The theory of evolution takes an interesting twist when we see it through the lens of the time cycle. In Jain philosophy, cosmic time is cyclic. Hence, it neither has a beginning nor an end. It is divided into two kal, mainly Utsarpini and Avsarpini. Each of these is again subdivided into 6 time periods, whereas Utsarpini refers to the increase of height, age, beauty, wealth, happiness, knowledge, wisdom, and all the other positive traits with the passing of time. Avsarpini is the opposite of that. That is, all the mentioned traits decrease as the time passes. Currently, we are in the 5th era of Avsarpini Kal. The duration of the first 3 time periods seems beyond our numerical understanding, as they are described in years we cannot measure. Even the 4th era is immeasurably long. However, the ancient Indian thinkers have described the length of the same as the number we get after subtracting 42,000 years from 1e plus 14. This is the number we get when we multiply 10 million by 10 million. The 5th and 6th Kal are 21,000 years each. Almost 2,700 years have passed since the current time period. which is the fifth era or Dushma Kal or Pancham Kal known in Jain philosophy. After this time period, Dushma Kal of the same length will come, which will be a time of extreme grief. Abstract translated from Jainendra Siddhant Kosh of the description of humans in the sixth time period, as mentioned in the text Tiloi Panati, is as under. If we talk about their bodies, the height at entering this time period will be 3 or 3.5 hands, which is approximately 3 to 4 feet approximately. Their appearance will be resembling apes and their bodies smell bad. The maximum age span will be 20 years. If we talk about their residence, they do not have houses, they are homeless and wander naked in the forests. There are no trees nor do they have livestock. Physiological miseries. Often the demeanor of humans is beastly, ruthless, deaf, blind, dumb, impoverished and short-tempered. Their bodies are filled with diseases. They do not have families. As the time passes, their height, age and strength keep decreasing. To compare the collective situation of the human race from the last time period of the descending cycle, which is of extreme misery, and from the last time period of the ascending cycle, which is of extreme happiness, let us now have a glimpse of the description of humans given in the text Tiloi Panati upon entering the sixth time period of the Utsarpini Kal, which is the half cycle of the increasing happiness. If we talk about their bodies, the height of the humans at entering this time period will be 2 kos. 1 kos is equal to 1.8 kilometers. If we talk about their appearance, their complexion is that of a full moon and they have 128 bones in their spine. Age. Their age is 2 palya. Palya is the unit given by the Jain thinkers to measure the immeasurable time. The demeanor of the humans in this time period is extremely humble and virtuous. Their bodies are free of diseases. As the time passes, their height, age, beauty, and the availability of the natural resources on the earth keep increasing. The clock, the calendar, the seasons, the movements of the sun, the moon, and the planets are all cyclic. It is the soul substance that keeps evolving and devolving amongst these. It keeps going through the cycles in countless physical manifestations, generating causes, and in turn enduring their effects, curating its destiny. Until one day it realizes that it has the inevitable innate ability to know how the cycles take place, and in knowing so, the soul realizes that it is not the cycles that will end, but it is itself that has to be withdrawn from these. After analyzing evolution by considering the time cycle, we see that neither evolution is permanent nor devolution, and that devolution eventually leads to evolution. According to the time cycle in Jain philosophy, the next Utsarpini Kal, the half cycle of increasing happiness, will start with the sixth time zone, that is, time of extreme grief. It will proceed towards the time similar to the current times and eventually till the first time period, which is the time of extreme happiness. The mere thought of attaining a state of the most spiritually evolved being is calming, as if we have found a base for our existence. Ancient Indian wisdom indicates that we are but individuals traveling collectively on our respective journeys. We can influence others around us and in turn can get influenced by them. However, during this interchange of ideas and energies, we do not lose the essence of our individual journeys, and that the time cycle is never ending. The matter, being the non-living entity, cannot have a quest. However, as conscious beings, we can willfully choose to withdraw ourselves from the cycle. O human, wake up within. In modern times, the world has been ruled by the West. We are highly influenced by them. We tend to eat what they eat. We love to wear what they propagate. We use products promoted by them. We look up to them to teach us how to live. On this insecurity of ours, consumerism flourishes. Animal agriculture is at its peak. and we are traveling afar from our culture that has been teaching us to be spiritually evolved all this while. Ironically, now the restlessness is reversing itself. That is, the West is seeking shelter in the East for peace of mind, spirituality, and simple living, which can be seen in the increased spiritual tourism in India and other Eastern countries. All our queries, our quest for peace of mind, our moments of inner bliss, and our keen interest in gaining knowledge indicate our genius self, which is not satisfied by the shallow answers of the modern world because these answers can only be found within. With time, our inner turbulence is increasing and will keep inflating if we don't seek the shelter of the self. Having the most developed brain has led us to the peak of worldly enjoyment and the worst of mental and emotional dilemmas. Hence, it is necessary to find a source of peace that requires no outer cause, no information, no technology, but only a feeling of being, a realization of the self, and an emotion of gratitude that whoever I am enough. The modern theory of evolution plays the role of strengthening the thought of alienness in our subconscious. It is easier to believe we are insignificant, random existences in this vast universe without a significant purpose, that we are just amalgamations of energy and molecules built under some chemical conditions and will dissolve into the same. This belief keeps our conscience in an ever-sleeping mode, and what else can be better than comfortable ignorance? By misusing natural resources tremendously, we have abused Mother Earth irreparably. Understanding the true essence of religious philosophies may play an essential role in reviving our strength. They help us understand our real essence and teach us to respect the other beings located at a lower rung in the evolutionary ladder. Religious philosophies also provide us with logical answers about the cosmology of the universe, space, time, metaphysics, consciousness, and whatnot, but only if we try to understand them with an open and analytical mind. The theory of evolution is a huge success that can eventually provide the answers one seeks, but only if we add consciousness to the recipe. It is possible that whom we consider the first man will turn out to be the last.